Bonjour, everyone. Hi, this is Neshi Lokotz. Welcome to Star Nations Organization's main fan page where I do this live stream Sunday through Thursday called the Spiritual Roundtable. I'm your host for this hour, and I can't wait to get started. I think you guys are really going to like the cards today, or at least the message behind the cards, right? And so welcome everybody who is in the chat, and both in the live chat and also in the recorded chat, the recorded show chat. We really do appreciate you guys taking the time out of your busy days to be with us during our shows, and I appreciate you. And so before we get too far down the road, what I'd like to do is to take just a pause, a moment to share, to sprinkle, I did that S word again, to sprinkle the show over to my news feed, just to remind my friends, right, that I'm live streaming. And I would invite you to also do the same, to send it over to your news feed, or maybe to a friend, somebody that you think would enjoy the conversation with us, right? Yeah. All right, so I am just going to remind my friends that I'm live streaming, and then inviting them to join us. Okay, and we'll put a little hearts around that. There we go. And I don't know if Stephanie's going to be in the house today or not. I think what I'll do is I'll send the show over to one of our closed groups as well. And just to let the peeps know that I am live streaming. And punctuation is needed. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. There we go. There. And we will, there we go. That's done. I'm going to turn down my sound on my phone so we don't get all squelchy. There. Excellent. Yay. I don't know about you guys, but you know, summertime is fun, right? It's fun, but it kind of takes a toll a little bit when you're not used to doing a lot of physical labor. I was pulling weeds yesterday just for just a really short time, really short time, you know, less than an hour. And I tell you what, I can kind of feel it just a little bit today. Yeah, that's for sure. Hey, Rochelle's in the house. Hello, Rochelle. She says, hello, Neshi. She's grounded. Yay. Doesn't it feel good to be grounded, Rochelle? Doesn't it feel good? You know, because we do. We feel totally different when we're grounded and centered than when we're not. And it feels good. She said, just stopped playing my flute to listen to you and your spirit. Yay. Oh, I'm so glad. Deb's here too. Hi, Deb. Good to have you here too. Today's a good day. Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's really good. And I bet you're having fun with it. Rochelle just bought a cedar flute, a Native American flute they call it, but it's a cedar flute. And so she's just learning how to play it. Isn't it cool? And she also sprinkled. We have to clarify that a bit because it sounds a little funny. That means that Rochelle helped to send the show to her news stream or to a friend or something like that. So that's really great. She's saying, yes, it's wonderful. Her new flute. I'm so glad you're enjoying it. So glad. All right. Oh, Stephanie's in the house too. I wonder why your comment didn't show up in the studio. That's interesting. Huh. Did you know that, Stephanie? Your comment didn't show up in the studio. Isn't that weird? Okay, anyway, she says, seated Star Nations across Star Nations groups. Yay. And the network is kind of choppy. We'll try to listen as best as the connection will allow. Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Stephanie, for doing that. And looks like Carla Joe's in the house too. Hi, Carla Joe. It's good to have you here. So today's cards are really, really interesting. And I'm hoping that we're going to have a really good conversation around them. Because, that's the premise of the show, right? The premise, the intention of the show has always been that I meet with my spiritual team in the morning to draw a card. And I've been doing that for a long, long, long time. I just haven't been sharing it with everybody. But in May of last year, May of 2018, we started doing a live stream around the card draw. And the intention has remained the same. The intention is to have my spiritual team show me what is the energy that's flowing that's most important for us to know about today, for our highest good and highest good of all, that can be helpful to our soul growth, our soul contract, and to perhaps give us, some clarity, some insight, so that we can have one of those aha moments if it's good, right? Yeah. So here's the cards for today. I gotta get some wires out of the way here. Got my phone plugged in and the lead was in my way. Okay, so here is the first card for today. The first card is Dreamweaver. Dreamweaver. I'm going to turn off the scrolly thing. Here we go. Get my name up. Here we go. Dreamweaver. Now, we've had this card before last week, I believe it was. Dreamweaver. And this is a Dreamcatcher here, right? And it's surrounded by, looks like rabbit fur and deer skin. And traditionally, Dreamweavers were made out of willow, branch of a willow. So it's very pliable, very flexible, right? But the card is called Dreamweaver. The Dreamweaver actually comes from, originated with the Ojibwa, also known as the Anishinaabeg. And the Anishinaabeg, the Ojibwa, are found, okay, all around the Great Lakes. So Michigan, Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin, and then up into Canada, right? And so the Ojibwa, they are part of the three brothers or the three fires that came out from the East Coast. And we're talking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago, okay? And the three brothers were the Ojibwa, the Ottawa, and the Potawatomi. And when you put them all together, they're known as the Anishinaabeg, the people, okay? So the Odawa, Ottawa, the Potawatomi, the Potawatomi, and the Anishinaabe is the three in their languages, okay? And so the Dreamcatcher was actually originated with the Ojibwa. And the Ojibwa in the story is each one of the brothers took responsibility of the survival of the people, okay? And so the Ojibwa had responsibility of the spirituality of the people. The Potawatomi, my people, the Potawatomi, they were keepers of the fire. And so we kept the council fire, but that also meant that we were able to help people cook their meals and that sort of thing, right? We protected the fire. And the Odawa, the Ottawa, were keepers of the food. And so they're the ones who went hunting and supplied a lot of the food, the bigger pieces of the food, like, the deer and the elk and that kind of thing, that kind of hunting. And so put them all together, and that's how they survived that trip from the East Coast to the central part of the United States, okay? And so when we have this Dreamweaver card, and they have the Dreamcatcher on there, right? And it's coming from the Ojibwa. So we know that it's very much spiritually based, right? And dream catchers, the purpose of a dream catcher is it's like a filter, right? It catches the bad dreams. It catches the nightmares, the night terrors that come through in spirit, okay? Because when we're sleeping, our spirit self is very much active, all right? And our physical body, our conscious body, is asleep. And so, as our spirit body, they say, that travels and goes to other realms, other dimensions, learning and working and having fun. When our spirit is out traveling, the dream catcher is part of the protection for our physical body. And so it's like a filter. It lets through the good, positive dreams, and it catches the nightmares and the night terrors, the lower vibrational dreams, right? Okay, so with this card today, I'm gonna share with you what the author has to say about this card, okay? Because I think it'll help dial in the meaning for us. It says that the dream catcher will help you to remember your dreams and will filter out nightmares. During sleep, you enter the spirit world. You're at a powerful level. Your mind is no longer in control. Spirit and energy are now in charge. It's time to see the mind for what it is, a useful servant, but a bad master who will cut you off from spirit. Relax and allow the messages from the dream world to bring more balance into your life. If your dream catcher comes reversed, which it didn't, but we know that some of the information in the reversed meaning can be very helpful in understanding why this particular card came to us today. Okay, all right. So it says, if it came reversed, you may have become attached to ego-inflating false dreams, fantasies, castles in the air, or prey to psychic illusion. Remember, you need to bring your dreams into practical reality and to use the gifts they bring effectively. Okay? So basically, the message that this card is bringing is all about our dream time. Right? And that it is in that time frame where our mental mind is asleep, right? It's resting. And so our spiritual body is in charge. It helps us to maybe gather information about a topic or something that you're working on, or perhaps it is prophetic, right? You're actually going into the future and you're experiencing something in the future that could be important for you to know about in the present time, in this reality. And so basically, Spirit is letting us know is that is to relax and take in the information that's coming through our dreams, through our dream time, right? The one sentence here that really, really jumped out at me was spirit and energy are now in charge, right? Spirit and energy are now in charge. In other words, it's our soul that's in charge, right? Yeah. And that relax and allow the messages from the dream world to bring more balance into your life. Because sometimes, what happens is that we have something that is occurring in our life and it takes up a lot of our energy. Maybe we have a big decision to make, or maybe we had a situation with another person, right? And it's weighing on us. Did we handle that well? Could we have done it something different? Or we still have to deal with this. How do we deal with it, right? And so our soul, spirit, can bring us information about all of that. That if we can relax, that's why it's so important to rest. It's so important for you to be able to go to bed and actually have a good night's sleep. So that it is meant primarily that good sleep for your physical body so that the next day you can actually function pretty well, right? But it is also very there you go. It's very good for our soul, because our higher self gets to bring us information. We get to go at our soul self to different places to gather information. Yeah, that's right. Hey, Mervyn Kelly's in the house. Hello, hello. Hey, you guys, if you didn't catch Mervyn's show this morning from Star to Stone, you have to watch it. Watch the replay, the recorded show. Mervyn talked a lot about our ancestors, and it was really more like, what was that? You said it really, really well, Mervyn. Something about your initial contact. No, something contact with the ancestors. First contact with your ancestors was something that he said during the show, and it really stuck with me. And so if you didn't see that, please watch it, because he talks about a certain stones, not crystals, stones, that can help us to connect, to make that initial connection to our ancestors, and why we would want to do that. So you got to watch it. And if Stephanie can, if you can get that link in there, that would really be nice. It's a really good show. I think you guys would really enjoy it. It's got some of those, oh my gosh, I never would have thought of that moments in it. Yeah. And Stephanie's saying that this is a beautiful Dreamcatcher. Yes, it is. You can tell that it's, number one, that it's definitely handmade, because there are commercially made ones out there now. But you know what I love about it is that it's not perfectly round, right? That you're really working with the energy of the willow. And let's think about that just a little bit. Willows of any kind are really have that feminine or sacred feminine energy to it, right? And so when we make a dream catcher out of willow, it's very nurturing. It's very protective, as sacred feminine energy would be, right? And so that's one of the reasons why they use willow. Oh, yum. Iced tea. All right, Stephanie is asking, question from Fred, do dream catchers ever become full? That is a good question. It depends on what they're made out of. If they're traditionally made, like with the willow and with sinew, no. But if they are made with, I've seen some that the hoops are metal, or they have woven in, crystal beads or something like that on the inside. And sometimes they put feathers in. And traditionally, a feather would have been put in there. Okay. But it's the crystals that they put in. Depending on what kind of crystals are used, they can get full. Okay. So if you're using like clear quartz crystal or something like that, you'll want to clear the dream catcher periodically. All right. But if it's a crystal like fluorite, or maybe a really grounding crystal, then not necessarily. If it's made out of metal, you will definitely want to clear that, because the metal is going to attract and kind of keep some of that energy, depending on the metal. Sterling silver, not so much, but kind of a different kind of alloy will retain that energy. Yeah, good question, Fred. There you go. Well, First Contact. I know. I said it was a really good name for a book. First Contact with the Ancestors. Let's think about that one, Mervyn. I would like to publish something like that. All about the crystals and the stones. Yeah, that would be great. Hey, Deb. Good to have you here. It's always good to see you, Deb. River and willow is as well. Anything that's bendable. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, my mom used to make these. She started out using the willow and then went to metal. That's how I know about the metal. Because what she would do is she'd cover the metal, right? Kind of like a macrame or a crocheting stitch around it, right? Yeah. She improvised. Thank you, Stephanie. She put in Mervin's show link in there. So he said, now I have to research the minerals in tattoo ink. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You want to do that. You want to know. You want to know what it's made out of, right? So really intentional. All right. So this was the first card, Dreamweaver. So it's all about relaxing and allowing the messages from our dream world to bring more balance into our lives, right? And to recognize that there is in dream time a space that our soul, our higher self, our spirit is really leading the way, right? Because we talk a lot about that in our waking time, right? That we want to be in our high heart. We want to lead with our high heart that's in that balance between our head and our heart, right? Between our mental mind and our soul, right? So that we can do this earth walk in a balanced way and in a kind and compassionate way too, right? Well, in our dream time, we're already there. We're already balanced. It's our soul, right? Yeah. So keep that in mind, okay? Keep that in mind and in heart about the Dreamweaver, the Dreamcatcher. Because here comes the second card. The second card is Eagle. And this is a card we haven't had before. Eagle. And in this picture, we have an eagle feather. Now, it's a darker eagle feather, and sometimes you can tell if it's maybe an immature or juvenile eagle that hasn't changed color of the feathers yet, bald eagle, or it is what they call secondary feathers that are not white. Right? And in the background of with the feather, the eagle feather, the author says is that they took samples of what an eagle's nest might be made out of. So we have branches or sticks, leaves, and other feathers, right? Yeah. And in the center here is another medallion. This is made out of beadwork. I'll see if I can get it. There we go. Is beadwork symbolizing an eagle, a bald eagle. And it looks like there's a sun in the center, doesn't it? Yeah, talking about the 7 directions. The 4 directions, the above, the below, and the within. It's also talking about the 7 gifts brought to the Osheti Sakoi, the Great Sioux Nation, from Spirit. And every time I'd see one of these medallions on these cards, I think, oh my gosh, and I say this just about every day for the show, is I know how to do beadwork. My mother made sure she taught me well. I know how to do it. It's just that this is a lot of patience, a lot of creativity, right? Because each one of those beads are sized so that they're similar in size, because the beads don't come in the exact same size, each one. Right? There's a lot of prep work to it too. I know. I'm a much better drum maker than I am a bead worker. All right. Stephanie says, my tattoo is 13 years old. Now it's time to plunk. What's a plunk? All right. Tell me what a plunk is. Hey, Jocelyn. Good to have you here, lady. Stephanie says, looks like a high mountain peak to me. Well, yeah, I suppose, right? Yeah. And eagles, how many people in the chat have seen an eagle nest out there in the wild? They're really cool. I've never actually been inside one, but we've driven by places where eagles are nesting. And I think it's like maybe 3-4 miles from here, from my home. Star Nations Academy, where I'm sitting, to the northwest. We have a breeding couple, 2 eagles, and we can see their nest. It's pretty prominent, and they're huge. They're usually about 6 feet across, okay? Sometimes even bigger, because they live in the same place all the time. So they might go away when it gets really, really cold and the water freezes and they can't hunt very well. They'll go south or southwest to open water, okay? And they have their summer home, or should I say their winter home there. And then they migrate back when the water's open and they live in the same nest. So all of their children, their progeny, get raised in the same nest. Isn't that cool? And eagles mate for life. Yeah. And so they keep adding to their nest. And so that's how, well, they start out big to begin with, but they get so big that you can see them without binoculars or anything like that, just naked eye. Yeah. And, they usually have at least 2, maybe 3 babies, sometimes only 1. And so the babies have to fit in there with their parent, at least one of them, to keep them warm. That's why they're so big, those nests. They're huge. Okay. Now scroll down here. Oh, cave diving, spelunking. Yeah. No, you were talking about your ink, right? And I thought maybe spelunking meant something different with tattoos. That's what I thought. Yes, not up close. Oh, okay. Right. Jocelyn says, I have in Florida and New York. Aren't they huge, though? Those nests are huge. And Stephanie says, the eagle nests here are pretty large. There are a bunch of golden eagles here now. And see, the golden eagles are even bigger than the bald eagle. They're not quite as big as a condor, but they're bigger than a bald eagle. Huge. Their wingspan could be up to 8 to 10 feet, I think, on goldens, because bald eagles are about 6 feet, 7 feet wide. Yeah. We have golden eagles here in Wisconsin as well. Usually not this time of year, more in the winter time, fall and winter, because they share the hunting area with the turkey vultures. For us, turkey vultures migrate. And so when the turkey vultures leave, then the golden eagles come across the Mississippi and then they spend their winters here with us. Yeah, something like that. How do I know so much about eagles? It's because they're one of my power animals. So you should get to know them a bit, right? All right, let's find out what the author has to say about eagle. All right. So eagle, he says, if eagle swoops towards you, it is telling you to call upon eagle spirit to lift you into the sunlight realms and gives you the opportunity to awaken your inner and outer visions. It is the offering you gifts of courage and freedom. So the eagle comes in, and there's 2 gifts that they're given. to us. That is courage and freedom. And letting us know that we have an opportunity to awaken both our inner and outer vision. So in other words, our physical eyes, right? Our physical eyes, that we're more aware of what's going on around us, and that we see things with a bit more clarity in the physical world. Okay. But it's also our inner sight, our spiritual vision, right? Our third eye, if you will. Yep. So to awaken both of those. Eagle also emphasizes male activity. This tells you that it's time to take action. It's time to take action. The eagle represents the medicine wheel in the East, spirit of the East. It's the bird, right? The winged one that represents, one of them anyway, that represents the East. Why? Is because it flies highest to the Creator, right? So they say. I know, Mervyn. There's a story about that, right? About who really flies closest to the sun or to the Creator, and so that's why eagle carries that sacred masculine energy, because the East on the medicine wheel carries the sacred masculine energy. Okay, so it's all about being active. Being active. The East also represents our mental thoughts in the spirit of air. So it says it's time to reconnect with spirit and relax. Take courage and fly. Lift your vision to Eagle's high vantage point. From here, you can see more clearly both the pitfalls and the opportunities that lie ahead. And as you look into the past with objectivity, you'll be able to learn from your previous mistakes. Okay, so here is where I have to interject that these cards were copyrighted in 1997. So let's look at this or feel about this a little bit more expansive, because we're no longer in the energy of 1997, right? The energy field is vastly different than what it was in 1997. So when we're looking at our life lessons in this life, in our earlier days, right, our younger years, and we reflect back, that if we reflect back with eagle medicine, okay, that we can see our experiences with more clarity and more objectivity, right? And so perhaps in those younger years, we may have made decisions that weren't really the best decisions for us, but it was about our spiritual growth. It was about a life lesson and the choices that we made along that path to make it through that life lesson, right? And in that experience, we gathered wisdom from it. So I would say that if we're looking back to our earlier days with eagle vision, is to really look at what you learned from that experience and what wisdom did you gain, right? So that when you bring it back to the present moment in your current life, at your current age, that you can really tap into that wisdom that perhaps is needed right now. Because everything that we experience, from the time we take our very first breath until the time we take our last breath, is meant for our soul growth and meant to assist us in that soul growth. So I might be a little I don't want to say contradictory. No, that's not the word. I want to look at it more in a more expansive way, right? That we're not just looking at mistakes, because I don't believe that there were mistakes. Yeah, we could have done something different. We could have made a different decision, but we wouldn't have met the people we met, had the experiences we met, gone to the places that we went to make us who we are today. Does that make sense? Yeah. And if you feel that there are mistakes or regrets, that's something to do some healing around, right? Yeah. All right. Rochelle. Rochelle says, what's the difference between a spirit animal and a totem animal? Good question. Good question, Rochelle. Now, this is from my point of view, okay, because there's others who would probably maybe define this a bit differently, but this is from my 2 cents, my perspective. A spirit animal is like a power animal, okay? And so those power animals come into our lives to help us with a current situation, a current life lesson, something that you're currently working on or with, right? And they're not meant to be with us the entire time. They're here for that part of our life, and then they go elsewhere to help other people, right? Yeah. And the totem animal is an animal that came in with us to this physical life, kind of like a guardian angel in a way. But they bring with them their characteristics for us to be able to utilize in this life, right? And so they're with us from the time we're born until the time we walk on. They're with us the entire time. And you can have more than one totem animal. Okay, you came in with one, and perhaps you had a near death experience or something like that, or you had a shamanic mini death. Perhaps you're a walk-in, and so then you would have another birth totem animal. Okay, that's just my 2 cents. Like I said, there's other ways of seeing it and perceiving it, and so. It's a good question, and you should ask it to a lot of different other people, Rochelle, and then you'll feel for yourself which definition or which one feels the best to you, right? Which one resonates with you? Yeah. All right. And so, Mervyn's saying you're talking about how the wren became the king of the birds. Yes, I love that story. I do. All right. So, eagle medicine. Here today to support the Dreamweaver card, right? And so what jumped out at me with this card when I was considering it with the Dreamweaver, there was 2 things. Eagle also emphasizes male activity. This tells you that it's time to take action. And for us to lift our vision to the eagle's high vantage point, to actively do that. Not just think about it, not just read about it, but to act upon it. Right? And when we do that, keeping in mind the Dreamweaver card and how our dreams can help us to balance, but they also, if we're relaxed enough about it, and see, here we go, when we're actually getting good sleep, so that we can have that uninterrupted dream time, right? That we can use our inner and outer vision during dream time as well. Because many of us do lucid dreaming, right? Many of us do that, where you can't, sometimes, Paul says I freak him up. Sometimes you can't tell what is a dream and what is this reality, right? For instance, this happened years ago. I was away for the weekend and with some girlfriends, right? And I had a dream, I guess, because I thought it really happened. And when I came home, I asked Paul, because he was waiting on news on a promotion to become a major, right, in the military. And I remember asking him about it, and he says, nope, haven't heard anything yet. I said, okay. So the next morning, I get up, I go to work. Paul calls me, or actually sends me an email. He says, I've got some good news. And I said, yeah, I know. You told me that you got the promotion. And you told me that this morning. And pretty soon the phone rings, and it's him. And he said, how do you know that? I said, because you told me this morning. And he said, I just found out like 2 minutes ago. Okay, so the dream that I had, we'll put it in quotation marks, the dream that I had where Paul was telling me about his promotion, to me, in my conscious mind, it already happened, but it was in dream time, right? So in those kinds of dreams, sometimes it's hard to discern what is in this reality and what's in a different reality. Does that make sense? And so with eagle vision, it can help us to discern that. It can. And help us to actually interpret it much easier too. Mervyn is saying yep, that's the one I'm stuck. I'm sorry. I already did that one. Jocelyn. So if you had a near-death experience, your totem animal can change. Not necessarily change, in addition to. So you'd have two of them. Okay. So you have the totem, animal totem, your birth totem that you came in at your birth. And then if you had a near-death experience, that could be your second birth, right? That you would have a second birth totem. So you'd have two of them. Yeah. And Stephanie said, just drove by a golden eagle. I love this valley. That is such a good omen. It really is. Such a good omen. What were you thinking about, Stephanie, when you drove by that? And you saw it, or it saw you, I should say. Okay, so eagle can help us with our dream time. And what Spirit is letting us know is that we should take the opportunity, grab the opportunity, act on it. Not just read about it, not just think about it, but perhaps tonight, when you get into bed and you're saying your prayers, you're doing your grounding, right? You're grounding and you're centering. And then ask for eagle to come, to help you to have clearer vision, both in inner vision and outer vision during dream time. Right? And see what happens. Yeah. Can't wait to hear. All right. So here's our third card. It's called Birther. Birther. The author calls this a grandmother card. The concept comes from the Cherokee Nation, and this is a medicine bag. A medicine bag. And they call it that, but it carries a pipe, a sacred pipe, a chanupa. Right? Let's see if I can get it in focus here. There we go. So this bag is very ornate, isn't it? It's made out of deer skin. It's got some very intricate beadwork going on. This is what we'd call fully beaded, right? It's got pony beads. Those metal cones actually mean something too, because they make it's like a tiny bell in a way, sort of. They make noise as you're walking. You have cowrie shells on it. And cowrie shells are a symbol of the sacred feminine. It's also about water and emotion. Right? And those longer beads there, those are usually made out of bone. So you add the animal, whosever bone that is. And then you have an abalone shell button there. More emotion and water. And when you carry your pipe, you also carry it with white sage as a protector, right? There's a lot going on in this picture. And I'll let you know and let you in on a little secret here. This beadwork at the top, when it's geometrical shapes, it's usually a Great Plains design. In other words, those indigenous people west of the Mississippi. Those that are east of the Mississippi, we generally have more floral and viney vines and more earth colors. The difference between the two. A little trivia there. Speaking of trivia, a little segue. Sorry, I'm like Mervyn today. Mervyn says keeping on track here. But speaking of trivia, is that I'm looking at doing trivia again in December, but maybe only one night of it. Yeah. So this you might see this show up on a trivia question. Remember it. You have to go back and watch some of the shows. Stephanie's saying it was a grounded eagle, no mistaking it. Wow. See, my mother would be asking you, Stephanie, she'd be asking you, what were you thinking about when you saw it? What was in your mind when you saw the eagle? That's what she'd be asking you. Because it's important. Because it's supporting whatever you were thinking or giving you some message. And so she'd be telling me, did you ask? Did you ask? Meaning you thank the bird for coming to you. And then you ask, do you have a message for me? And then you listen. So you can still do that. You can still do it, Stephanie, because he's in your mind. You're sharing it with us, right? Okay, so here's the birther. All right, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the pipe bag. It says, this beautiful fringed medicine bag, which contains the sacred pipe, is made from deerskin beaded in lazy stitch. The pattern is typical of many Lakota Sioux designs and suggests the form of a medicine wheel. The fringe is finished with tin cones, which make a delightful jingling sound when the pipe is carried, traditionally in the left hand. Tiny pouches containing a person's medicine, stones, crystals, herbs, are worn around the neck. Okay. So here's the message. Birth is a journey of discovery. Be open to new ideas and new things coming into your life, such as a job or an experience or a relationship. Review your life from birth to see if there are past events or areas in needing of healing, so that you don't have to carry any excess baggage with you. The medicine bag you see is mainly used to carry the sacred pipe. This is for prayer and healing ceremonies, but the smaller bag I give you is to store the tools that represent your creative gifts, your healing, nurturing talents. The best use of your creative gifts and talents are what is the intention here. It says, do not hold back out of fear of being unacceptable or less than perfect when using your gifts. Situations or people that need to move on or change can be released. So release yourself and give birth to the new. Okay? It's a lot. It's a lot of information in one card. It's a bit overwhelming. But that's why we got the eagle medicine before the birthing card, is so that we can tap into the eagle medicine to help us to understand the message coming from the birther card that helps support the Dreamweaver card, right? And so there are several things that go along with that in the same stream, so to speak, okay? Is that they're talking about our gifts. And it was the explanation about what the bag, the sacred pipe bag is and what it means, so that we could understand the gift that Spirit is giving in this card. And the gift that the Spirit is giving is a smaller bag that we can use to store our gifts in it, our tools. Right? It's the gifts that we came in with into this lifetime, so that we can hold them close to our heart in this sacred bag. And Spirit's asking us not to hold back from using our gifts. Not to hold back. Not to have second thoughts or to be concerned about what others might think or say. Right? And not even to look for perfection in their use, but rather to be joyful that you're using them. Right? And they're even talking about that looking back again at this current life and taking and looking at it, let's say it again, with the eagle vision in the decisions that we made, the life lessons that we learned, not to look for the mistakes, but to really see with clarity, both with our inner vision and outer vision, what that experience that we gained from it, right? Because it's going to help us to use our gifts so that we can bring that wisdom from our childhood, our young adulthood, right, into the present moment with us today. That wisdom. So there might be something that you're experiencing. Maybe it's a new project, birthing. Maybe it's a new project. Maybe it's something, a new thing that's going on in your life. Maybe you're doing a lifestyle change, right? And that wisdom that you gained in those previous years can be very, very helpful today, so that you're really, really consciously aware of it, right? And that the eagle, with eagle medicine, remember, it's a sacred masculine, so we're taking action with it. We're taking action with it. So what does birther have to do with Dreamweaver? That was my question. And truly, I think it has to do with being relaxed and gathering the information that is brought to us through our dreams. The information that Spirit brings to us in dream time, right? And that we can use that eagle vision in our dreams as well. And so we're being asked to take action, not just to talk about what our dreams are bringing to us, but really to take action with it, right? So, one of the things that we do here is that I'm going to show you the 3 cards together, right? And one of the things that we've learned is that when we call to our spiritual team to come to us, the entire team, your entire team to come close, right? To be able to help you to take in both the seen and unseen, use eagle medicine, both the inner vision and outer vision of the cards. That's optimal for you, right? And how the information can be helpful to you today and maybe even other times. Okay. Before we do that, I want to do some of the chat here. Stephanie says, black tattoo ink, iron oxide, carbon logwood. My thought, do I know any shamans who can help me cleanse the tattoo? Should I finish the inking? What dreams of mine am I blocking by acting as a Dreamcatcher filter? Let's see, Dreamcatcher for my siblings. Pretty deep thoughts. Oh, it is. And so that's probably why you saw the eagle, huh? Yeah, I would agree. Mervyn is saying, that's what I do when I see animals and birds when I'm out and about. I offer thanks to the goddess for sending her messenger when it's a hare, and thank the spirit of the hare too. With other animals and birds, I thank the spirit of the creature for its presence and that I may understand clearly the messages of wisdom that it's bringing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And we do that all the time, don't we? Yeah. We should have a show just on that. Okay. So call your team to you. Okay. And take a big, deep breath in, really filling up your lungs. We need a lot of oxygen, okay? Getting calm and getting present. And on the exhale, taking in the information and asking your team to help you to do that, okay? Asking you to do that. You gotta hold them so you can see them all. Okay? So we have the Dreamcatcher, the Dreamweaver, bringing us information about how our dreams can be helpful to us, right? That our soul, our higher self, is the one that is going out, traveling to different realms, experiencing, bringing back information for our conscious self. An eagle can help us to do that during dream time. We can call on eagle medicine to help us to understand our dreams. And if there's anything that we are to bring into the physical world, into this reality, to help us to do that as well, to be able to see with clarity what that all means for us. Right? And the birther card is to support the Dreamweaver card in giving birth to new ideas, right? To be able to use our gifts with the information that's coming from our dreams. It's to help us to understand the experience that we're having here on Earth, our Earth life, gaining the wisdom, using our wisdom that we've already gained, right? Okay. That's a lot here. It's a lot to take in. And so for those of you who would like to, if it resonated with you, and if you know how, you can snap a screenshot of those 3 cards together and really take it in even more if you want to, when we all do this, when we take in what resonates with us and we use that information, we affect the world around us in a good way, whether it's healing aspects of ourselves, using our gifts, right? Yeah, we affect everything and everyone around us, including all of our relatives, right? So, and if it didn't resonate with you, that's okay. Don't worry about it. It's all right. There's always tomorrow's cards. Or perhaps you're the messenger. That's what I say, is that there must have been a reason why you sat through the entire show, right? Taking it all in. And so maybe there was somebody that crossed your mind or popped in to your mind as you were watching. My suggestion is to send them the link to the recorded show, because maybe there's something in here for them that you may or may not be aware of. Okay? All right. Listen to your intuition. All right. So, tonight, to Tuesdays. I'm stuttering now. Tuesdays. Tuesdays are always busy days here at Star Nations, always. And so we have one more show for you tonight, and that's my weekly evening show called Communications from Home. And that's all about remembering. We talk about that quite a bit here at Star Nations, that we already know at a soul level. And what we're doing is we're trying to remember, right, what our soul already knows. And so that is the intention for the show tonight. I hope you can join me. We're going to be talking a lot about the heart, and we're going to be talking a lot about, that remembering. Okay. All right. That's at 8 p.m. Eastern time, right here in the same fan page. Can take a drink. And tomorrow is Wednesday, and that's Polly Jola Bay at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Soul Connections at 4 p.m. or thereabouts. We're going to do a replay for Nature Adventures, which is my other show with my co-host, Minnie Kansman. And we're going to be using the replay Nature and Poets. It's one of our favorite ones. If you like poetry and if you love nature, wait until you hear the stuff coming out of that show. That was a good one. And then Thursday, of course, is the Spiritual Roundtable. And then we also have, following this show on Thursday, is Angel Therapy with Marine Man. And that's at 4 p.m. Eastern time. So join us for those, okay? I just want to take just another minute of your time, and I want to share with you something that's kind of important. It is important. It's not kind of. You know that the Star Nations magazine was published in our print-on-demand version through our partners at MagCloud on the 10th of August. And I had hoped today, August 20th, that we were going to be able to publish the Apple and Google version of our magazine in the August issue. But I'm not sure if that's going to actually happen today. I've been kind of waiting almost all day. There's a process in converting our PDF into the digital for Apple and for Google. And in the ransomware hack that our partners that does that conversion for us, their name is Magcast. And they've been dealing with this and bringing things back up online, restoring and rebuilding. And I think we hit a glitch is what happened. Now, we haven't been told this officially, but yesterday I waited 9 hours for our magazine to be loaded up onto the test platform. And see, I test every issue before we actually send it out so that I know that all of the links work for websites and also for the videos that we use with different articles. And so I wasn't able to test it. And I can't put it out there if I can't test it. So thinking we're going to have to wait another day or two before we can publish. And who knows? I might be able to do it tonight after my show. Again, we just don't know. And so I really do appreciate your patience. Those of you who get the magazine via Apple or Google, okay? I really do appreciate that. And we're trying our very best to get that out to you as soon as we can, all right? Okay, thank you for that. And I'll mention it again tonight on my evening show. So with that, please enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, and hopefully we'll see you in one of the chats, or we'll see you tomorrow afternoon for the spiritual roundtable at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Okay, all right. That won't go away. I don't know. All right, we're just gonna go without it. Enjoy your day. Bama Mina. That's Potawatomi for until we see each other again. Love you guys. Really? That's not going to work either. Okay. I'll see you guys later. Bye, Mamina.